This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
And welcome to the WWE Podcast. It's time for the Crown Jewel preview and prediction show here on Friday, November 3rd, 2023, as we're going to be going through the match card and giving thoughts and predictions. We were going to have Sharon from Israel here, and we had to reschedule. There's a lot of safety concerns over there, as you'd imagine, in Israel right now. So he'll be on within the next few days to a week. We will reschedule and figure out our times and that kind of thing. So we are going to be bringing him on. Unfortunately, we couldn't today, but hey, his safety is a little bit, not much, but just a little bit more important than talking about preview and predictions for a WWE PLE. But of course, stay safe, Sharon. I hope you are, obviously doing what's needed. And we're going to go through the card. And before we do that, I want to make sure you guys know about Patreon, because Sharon just joined Patreon, so thank you. But also, I know we've had other people over the last several weeks, and I want to thank them and thank everybody over the last really several weeks. We've had several people join us and take advantage of the free trial. So if you're like, I don't know if I want to commit, now there's a 7-day free trial that's available to you. And also, if you go up in the tier, SmackDown tier allows you to get access to our exclusive After Dark show that Anthony DeMarco is going to be dropping actually later today. After this show, I'll be posting it, and we'll be getting that out to those who are on the SmackDown tier and above, which is an adult version of the show. So you're not going to want to miss that. Not for the kids and the women and children, as I say. Well, maybe the women, but definitely not the children. So take advantage. Get yourself a free trial. Also on Apple Podcasts, we offer a free trial as well. So, okay, let's talk about Crown Jewel, guys. And I know a lot of you in the Discord server over there on Patreon, another great benefit, are going to be chatting away tomorrow, especially during the event, and giving your thoughts and predictions and all the reactions. I think it's going to be a massive show. Before I get into the details of the matches, it looks like it's going to be a show that is reminiscent of the Triple H era, where we go in, there's some matches on the card that you're not particularly excited about. Maybe the build or the story has been underwhelming, and then you come out of the event going, wow, that was awesome. That's been very much a trademark of the Triple H era. Even when Vince was kind of back, but not really, but he was running things, but not really, and it was messy. The trademark was not the best build, but way better coming out of it, where you were just, your expectations were blown away. I don't know if that's by design, where they don't exactly build the best that they can, knowing that if you come out of the event thinking it's better than going in, then you'll come back for more. I don't know if that's their strategy. I doubt it, but that's been a trademark nonetheless, and I expect the same here for Crown Jewel. And we have a lot of good matches on the card, some that I'm very interested in the outcome of. Reports coming out that Triple H, Roman Reigns is going to be taking more time off until the Royal Rumble, meaning after Crown Jewel, we won't see him until the Royal Rumble. Now, I won't talk about my prediction yet for that match with LA Knight, other than to say I think that if this is true, it could play either way into the result. You could make a case either way. Not that I want him to disappear. I've been an advocate of him staying for every PLE through WrestleMania at this point, because there's just too many opponents for him to go through and great matchups he could have. But if it's true, taking it at face value that he is just going to take his typical, do a match and take 4 months off gig, then we could really make an argument either way as to whether or not LA Knight is going to win at Crown Jewel. And I have a prediction I think that may actually surprise some of you, and we'll get to that at the end of the show. Now, starting off with our card here, let's do that. So the first match up here is Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough in the kickoff match. This is, I will say that it's a bit surprising Sami Zayn's in the kickoff match. Think about where he was back in February of this year. Main eventing, potentially winning, and I still believe and will not stop believing that he should have beaten Roman at the Chamber in Montreal. But this is just crazy that he's now on the pre-show. He's also super over. Not to the level he was in February, but still. Now for JD McDonough, this is a big match because he's on in a singles match, albeit the kickoff, on Crown Jewel. So huge for him, downgrade for Sami, but this matchup, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. Not a lot of consequences in this match. It's a match that they put on the card knowing that they're going to get a great wrestling match out of it because both are ultra talented. JD has shown how good he is in the ring over the last several weeks and months, really. I've enjoyed his character. He's got this face that you want to punch, even though he's an undersized guy. And Sami Zayn never puts on a bad match. So these two are going to work very well together. I expect it to go 12, 13 minutes and probably having Sami Zayn win to get the crowd going. I don't see JD winning, but it'll be another win in a loss type of strategy for JD where he continues to lose, but losing in a losing effort where he, does everything he can to win and comes close and at least puts his name out there. So Sami Zayn wins to get the show going. Now, moving on. The WWE Women's Champion, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. This one, to me, is... It seems so easy to pick Bianca because she's returning. She has a bit more of an edge that I've been looking for. Now, is this the start of a heel turn? Is it the hints of a heel turn where last week she said that this is something she can't get out of her mind? All she's been thinking about is retribution and revenge. And that's not a Bianca trait where she's just, as she said, she smiles through things and moves on. And I've really despised that about her character. And now we're getting an edge. Maybe it's just a more edgy baby face, which to me is more relatable. But maybe it is the signs of a heel turn. We will see. If they're going to have an edgy Bianca, I'm cool with keeping her baby face. I just could do without the hair twirling and skipping like she's a 13-year-old girl on a playground. Or rather, I don't know if 13-year-olds do that anymore. Maybe like 10-year-old, right? 9, 10. She just, I think, really just takes her character down a notch or two with that part of her, her character of skipping and twirling. No, it's just it's the worst. But she's good on the mic. She can be really good on the mic, and she's of course at the top of her game in the ring. So I expect this match to be a lot of fun. I expect this match to have Bayley involved, maybe Dakota Kai, who's been nothing short of invisible over the last several months, really since she joined the Damage Control group in SummerSlam of 22. So I don't know if Dakota will have much to say about this other than just being the essential houseplant, really invisible, which is not good for Dakota Kai. But this is not as easy as I think it is for some people to pick Bianca. Bianca was my initial reaction because Io Sky has been ultra boring as a champion. And I still believe that it is going to be Bianca Belair because Io Sky here, as I said, has been extremely underwhelming as a champion. She doesn't feel like a champion, and not because of her credentials in the ring or how good she is on the ring, but because, number one, they haven't given her a voice, and number two, they haven't paid much attention to her. It's been about Charlotte and Bayley and Bianca. Io Sky is kind of there, and she's the damn champion. So without focus on her and worrying about building a character for her, it seems like they're ready to kind of move on from the Io Sky experiment, even though they didn't really put a whole lot of effort into it, and move on to Bianca Belair as champion. Which also, Bianca Belair going into the almost WrestleMania season as champion is more fun than Io Sky. Let's be honest, right? So I think Bianca does win here, and I think it is finally because Bayley accidentally or purposefully screws over Io Sky turning Io Sky babyface, going into a Bayley versus Io Sky. Finally, after all this time that we've been predicting this for like the last since she cashed in, really, even before that. So I think that's where they're finally going to go, where Bayley accidentally, quote unquote, costs Io Sky the championship, and we finally get this damn group dissolved. I'll predict it, and I'm sure Io will retain, right? All right. Moving on. John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. Also, this one's not easy because while John Cena has said that he needs a win, or basically he says he shouldn't be here, which is ridiculous, as I've mentioned. The stats that he's touting are, while true, very misleading, that he hasn't won a singles match since 2018, given he hasn't had singles matches in a couple of those years since 2018, barely has been around, and I think he's had a total of like 3 singles matches since 2018. So they're very widely misleading. And so, but the narrative is that if he doesn't win, he feels like he doesn't have it anymore and he needs this victory. That kind of tells you that if he loses, then he'll show up back at WrestleMania, which I think is what's going to happen here. So my prediction is Solo Sikoa wins. He beats John Cena, Samoan Spike, and plus John Cena, as we all know, was only scheduled to be on SmackDown through October 27th, which means now it's Crown Jewel. He goes away after this. It's possible he signed more dates. Maybe he did, but I haven't been privy to that. And I think John Cena is in the part of his career where he is in the give back stage, helping make new guys. He doesn't need any victories. He could lose every match the rest of his career, however long that is, and it wouldn't touch what he's done or taint his legacy in any way. The guy is ironclad in his Hall of Fame bid and how people view him. There's nothing that can happen to John Cena at this point that would tarnish his career at all. Nothing. The only thing I wish they did was have at least a small chance to see what a John Cena heel character looks like. That's the one thing that I wish they were able to do, or got the guts to pull the trigger on. But in this match, I expect a good match. You know, John Cena hasn't ever been known for his technical abilities, but I expect him to put on a very respectable 10-minute, maybe 10, 12 minutes of Solo and John Cena, a much slower paced match, and one that has, of course, an AA kick out or two, as is required by law, and maybe even a Samoan Spike kick out, but I doubt it, and having John Cena lose here, and having Solo Sikoa stand tall, because think about it. If John Cena wins and goes away, how does that help Solo Sikoa? He has to be there the next week. John Cena's gone until likely WrestleMania season or at the Rumble or in the Rumble. So it doesn't make sense for John Cena to win and go away. Who does that help? Nobody. So I think this is going to be a fun, slower paced match, which I'm cool with. And Solo needs the victory more than John, even though John Cena has said that, you know, he needs this victory or he's going to be depressed and feel like, you know, it'll make his tummy hurt and he won't be able to, he feel like he won't be able to go any longer. So I'm looking forward to it though, because let's all be real with each other. Even if you're not a fan of John Cena at this point in his career, you have to respect what he's doing. He's doing things he doesn't need to do. He doesn't need to be here. He doesn't need to be taking bumps at this stage of his life. He doesn't need to be helping new talent, but he is. And sure, he's getting paid to do it. So what? John Cena is still doing something he doesn't have to do. And I respect that. And he is still giving back. He's giving back. He's not the face of the company anymore. So I respect that. And I commend him for that. So this is about Solo Sikoa and building new stars. It's building the next generation. It's giving back to the business. That is what John Cena is for. That's not to say he can't have a victory or two. I don't want him coming back and jobbing to everybody. But this isn't a time for, especially a star like Solo Sikoa, who has been showcased over the last couple of years, to lose. All right. Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest. This is going to be a fun match. You know, this is it's a singles match with really not much at stake other than pride. And I think it's going to be a Cody Rhodes victory. I think Cody Rhodes gets the victory, not because he really needs it, but because it's, I think, going to well, it'll keep the momentum going for Cody because he says he's quote unquote back on his road to his story or whatever, which goes through Damian Priest. And Damian Priest is really not at the level of Cody Rhodes in terms of star power. So I think that Cody Rhodes losing here would not make a lot of sense given that he's back on the road to maybe another championship match against Roman at WrestleMania. As much as I don't want to see it, that could be what he's talking about. Or it could be Seth Rollins is what he's talking about. We'll see. So I think Cody Rhodes does beat Damian, and it's a hard-fought victory. I think we're going to see interference from the Judgment Day, as we normally do. Now, Damian could win, but it would, again, I don't, unless he uses the briefcase, hits Cody in the head or something, or there's Dominic Mysterio interfering or Rhea interfering, I see Cody Rhodes winning. It's almost as if it has to happen. Now, again, if Damian wins in a way that doesn't hurt Cody Rhodes and he cheats to win and, like I said, uses the briefcase, then sure, that does make sense. But outright having Damian have a clean victory over Cody is not in the cards and should not happen. That said, when you look at Damian Priest over the last year, I mean, think about how much he's been elevated. Oh my God. That's good. I mean, I'm not complaining at all. Think about where he was before he joined the Judgment Day and the whole Edge debacle, which I still have mixed feelings on, that they did it way too soon and turned on Edge way too soon. We never got to see a full Edge heel run and what that looked like. But that said, the benefits of this have been Damian Priest being elevated to a level that I didn't think was possible for where he was. Remember, he was doing like he was like Mr. Archery in the ring, shooting this imaginary arrow, all that crap. He's been elevated very nicely. He's Mr. Money in the Bank. He's possibly a future world champion if he doesn't fail to cash in. He's in a great place. And a loss to Cody Rhodes here won't hurt him. Now, what I think could happen if Cody Rhodes does beat Damian, he could do it clean, but given how they like to elevate, or they have elevated Damian, and then maybe they want to protect him if he's a future world champion, is JD McDonough tries to come out. He tries to help Damian, but he ends up accidentally screwing over Damian, and Cody Rhodes takes advantage and hits the Crossroads, which is one of the worst finishes of all time, and wins. And that's possible because JD and Damian have had a lot of tension. So that could add to that tension. So I think Cody Rhodes comes away victorious either way. But I think they try to protect Damian in some way. I don't know if it's a totally clean victory for Cody. So, but yeah, again, you guys can't tell me the Crossroads looks good. There's only been like one or two people that have ever taken it very well. Ever. I mean, JD McDonough has taken it well. They have to be a small guy that's extremely athletic that can twist their body in that way that makes it look halfway decent without Cody actually taking the bump. I mean, it's a horrendous looking move most of the time. It looks bad in real time. Imagine if you did it in slow-mo, how awful the Crossroads would look. I mean, it's not big ending bad, but it's bad. It's bad. And this isn't because I just dislike the babyface Cody Rhodes character. I don't even know if I like the BFT from LA Knight. I have mixed feelings on that too. But this is just a horrendous finish maneuver that I understand it's supposed to look cool and it's twisty and turny, but you look at it and you're like, he didn't even hit that well. If you come away from a finish and go, who's the one that's supposed to be hurt here? Like, who am I supposed to believe took the brunt of that force? That's not a question you should be asking for a finish move. Okay? Bad. But it's not going to change. By the way, Big E, where's he? Good question. I haven't heard much about his recovery. I keep hearing up and down reports. I keep hearing now that, he's on his way back. He's not. Same with Randy Orton, blah, 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 right? But I wouldn't be surprised if we have a Big E return at this event. Now, where would he interject himself? I don't know. There's no New Day match on the card, so probably nowhere. If he returns, maybe it's a Monday Night Raw. If he does. I haven't heard anything. I'm just saying it's been like, how long now since we had Ridge Holland break his neck? I don't know. Okay, U.S. Champion Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. This is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun because Rey Mysterio is somehow still at the top of his game. I have no idea how. He may have lost a quarter of a step since he was at his peak in like the mid 2000s. But if you didn't know that he was, 15 years older, you probably wouldn't know to look for his decline in performance, which is minuscule. And Rey Mysterio is just, it's unbelievable how long he's been able to survive the business. And Logan Paul, may not like him personally. I can't deny how good he is in the ring and how he just has taken like a fish to water with pro wrestling. He has. And he's feeling more comfortable on the microphone. He's just being himself. He's inherently unlikable, but he's athletic as hell. He's a legitimate badass, whether we all want to admit it or not. He is. And he can perform. And I expect this to be a lot of fun with Logan Paul winning the United States Championship. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think he's going to go on a several month run. Maybe he is going to commit for a little bit longer. I don't need him to be there every week. But if he's going to be the United States champion, we don't need another absentee champion. We've already got, enough of that going on in WWE. So, all right. But yeah, anyway, the match is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a lot of high flying. Logan Paul continues to deliver. He beats himself into a bloody pulp every match. He doesn't pull any punches. He's not, he's not wrestling scared. That's for sure. He's been injured already. He's recovered from that since, I think he tore his knee or something a few months back, but he has done such a good job. And I think Logan Paul as U.S. champion is more fun than Rey Mysterio, because let's be real. Rey Mysterio as U.S. champion, it's nostalgic, but that's it. It hasn't been exactly a memorable U.S. championship run for Rey. It's been also kind of like Io Sky, kind of boring. So Logan Paul winning would kind of freshen up the U.S. title, and he'd be able to brag every week and work with, maybe a Ricochet again. All right, Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler versus Zoe Stark versus Raquel Rodriguez in a fatal 5-way, not elimination. This is a one fall to a finish, which I'm a fan of elimination whenever they have multi-person matches, but this is, I believe, a one fall to a finish. This is going to be a train wreck, and I don't mean that in a bad way necessarily, but there's so many women in this match that it's hard to focus on just one of them, but I can tell you who is not going to win off the bat. Zoe Stark has no chance. Shayna Baszler has no chance. And Raquel Rodriguez has no chance. So it really comes down to Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley. And Nia Jax, no. I think it's Rhea Ripley. This one is probably, out of every match on the card, the easiest to predict. Because there is just no reason outside of shock value and fans going, what the hell, to do any other decision. Rhea Ripley has to win. And she's going to win by hook or crook, meaning, even though there's no DQ, which also doesn't make any sense, that every time there's a fatal 5-way, fatal 4-way, or triple threat, because you add more people, it just automatically defaults to no DQ. No one will ever be able to coherently tell me why that makes sense. But there is no DQ, so sure, there is no such thing as doing something illegal because everything's legal. But what's going to happen is Rhea Ripley's going to take advantage of someone else's finish, where she's going to be the one to crawl over and cover after, say, Nia Jax does her tsunami or her bonsai bomb, goes all Yokozuna on like Zoe Stark or something, and Rhea Ripley crawls over and, just barely escapes with the championship as all the women are seething in the ring. And, Rhea Ripley will escape this match as champion. She'll take advantage of someone else's finish and win. That's what's going to happen here. And there's just no other way to go. Rhea Ripley is at the top of her game right now. Like, it's not like she feels like she's overstayed her welcome. She's only over the last several months started to defend her belt. I mean, there was a gap of like 4 months where she just didn't do anything. It was all about Judgment Day, and was no women were even talking about the world title, or allowed to even. But so lately she's actually been defending it, and I think we are going to continue with Rhea Ripley as champion. This one is a lock it up, throw away the key decision. If you are, and I'm not advising you do, but I know some of you do, bet on wrestling matches, which you can, this would be one where I would put my money because none of the other decisions make sense. Okay? Again, your decision. But if I was going to do it, this would be the match I'd put my money on. Maybe my car too. I don't know. All right. 2 more matches, guys. World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. This one, as I just said, put your money on. This is one I would not. Out of every match on the card, this is the one that would scare me the most. Because Seth Rollins and Drew both make very good cases to win. Now, Damian Priest is floating out there. Does Damian Priest come out of this as champion? It's possible. It's possible. I still don't think Damian Priest cashes in, or if he does, it's a failed cash in or a failed attempt at a cash in, meaning he tries to cash in, but the bell never rang. We've seen that a million times. Maybe Randy Orton comes out of nowhere. This is maybe where Randy Orton shows himself. It's possible too. Randy Orton comes out of nowhere, RKO on Damian Priest. Maybe they ignore the fact that Randy Orton was beat up by the Bloodline to be put on the shelf in the first place. They totally just hope the fans forget that. So that's possible. But I think that this match is scary. This match scares the hell out of me if I had any money on it, because I honestly could make a case strongly for both. Because, okay, take Damian Priest out of it and Randy Orton out of it, who I think, if Damian shows up, by the way, I think Randy Orton shows up to RKO Damian Priest, and, you know, then we're talking about Randy Orton for a while, which will be fun. But take Damian out of it. If it's only Seth and Drew, and those are the only 2 options that could win, this is difficult because Drew McIntyre has been talking about turning heel, or rather teasing turning heel, for a long time. And he, over the last couple of weeks, has pulled back from that a little bit and just told us, the fans, that, hey, you know, I'm bitter about having to defend or win my championship in front of nobody. This match means everything to me. It means more to me than it does to Seth. You know, and also the Judgment Day is trying to recruit both of them. So there's that of Drew maybe joining Judgment Day. And remember, Drew was talking to Rhea backstage a few weeks ago. That was caught on camera. So Drew turning heel here and doing anything to win, maybe we have the Judgment Day come out and it is that Drew joins. I don't want Drew in a group, but if you're going to turn him heel, that's one way to do it. Or Drew could low blow Seth, do something malicious, low blow Seth Rollins and get the victory, use brass knucks. I mean, I don't know. So Drew winning would be a nice change for the World Heavyweight Championship. It would freshen things up. Seth's had a nice run. I don't think any fans would be angry that he lost the belt. You know, he's had a decent run in compared to most championship runs outside of Roman Reigns. So I think that's very possible. Also, Seth Rollins is still on a roll. Fans are still behind him. They're not turning on him like they have in past championship runs with him, because he's found a gimmick that works. It feels more authentic. He's got an entrance song that is, at this point, just choir practice for most people. And it wouldn't be the worst decision in the world to have Seth moving forward as a champion. So, you know, because Seth can have a great match with anybody. I don't know. This is tough as hell. I've been advocating for Drew to win because I want to see a heel Drew. So that's what I'm going to go with. Okay. While my head is telling me Seth's going to retain because they probably want to keep it going a little bit longer, I think Drew wins. Now, whether it's a low blow, whether it's interference from the Judgment Day, I think they will have something to say about this. That is also very possible. One of the two, or Drew could just outright beat Seth. But I think we finally see a new World Heavyweight Champion. It's time. And I'm interested to see what a heel Drew looks like. Now, Drew could just be a babyface. That's possible too. There's too many damn options. But I think at the end of the day, it's like 50.1% for me that Drew wins and 49.9% that Seth Rollins wins. It is really a flip of the coin. Very difficult to predict. Stay the hell away from this match if you have money on it. Don't. I think Drew wins, but boy, I could easily be wrong, and I wouldn't be surprised if I am. This one scares me to death in terms of a prediction and having any kind of stakes on it other than just, pride, I was wrong. So Drew wins here. That's my prediction. Now, This next match. Of course, Roman Reigns and LA Knight. Now, I told you earlier in the show that the reports are coming out from credible sources. We all know who the big names are. That Roman Reigns is taking time off again. Putting my personal feelings aside about that, of how ridiculous this is getting, it's preposterous now. You could argue that, well, Roman Reigns is going to beat LA Knight, and he's going to go back into hiding, and no one's going to talk about the championship. Maybe they'll be talking about Randy Orton, and that's been the idea for several months now, is Randy Orton is going to be the one that's going to soothe the blow of Roman again not being there, and they're hoping that we'll be distracted about, oh my God, Randy's back. Roman's not here, but that's okay. We have Randy now. Don't be fooled by that, guys. It's nothing more than deodorizing the fact that Roman again is not here. So we have that argument. You also have the argument of LA Knight could win, shock the world, make his career. The internet would blow up. The crowd would lose their minds, and we would have a Roman Reigns disappear for 2 months, which would also make sense. After a massive title loss, Roman Reigns disappears. That's happened before, and it's very plausible. And then it's like, well, what is Roman going to say when he returns? And you wouldn't also be angry that we again have an absentee champion for several months on end, racking up artificial days to his run because he's not here defending it. I don't want him to defend it every week, by the way, but going like chunks of like quarter years, taking it off, like that is to me really detrimental to his whole quote unquote 1,000-day run. Okay. But that's the other argument. LA Knight could win. Roman Reigns goes away. We don't care. Roman goes away and get angry because we now have a champion that's going to be here. So there's that. This is difficult. My initial thought was Roman Reigns retains and he moves on. But if Roman's going away and LA Knight's there, it's very possible that LA Knight is champion while Roman Reigns is on his 40th hiatus. So this to me is very hard. I'm still going to go with LA Knight losing. But I have been bolstered in my confidence lately, where to me it was before like a 95.5% chance that LA Knight wins. To me, this is like 60-40 now, where Roman Reigns is still the 60, LA Knight is the 40. But the logic is there that it might be the right time to pull the trigger. And again, if we all knew what the plans were for Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, this would be easy to figure out who's going to win and lose. We don't know if The Rock's around. Assuming he's not, it could be Cody and Roman again, and Cody versus Roman 2 for the championship again makes sense. So, for a lot of people, not for me, but Roman Reigns here keeping the United States or keeping the Undisputed Championship, I think makes more sense if you want to have more championship matches with Roman and Randy Orton, or Roman and Cody, or Roman and AJ Styles, who, by the way, is apparently returning on the next SmackDown. Remember, the Bloodline injured him, so AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns is still on the table. So there's a lot of matches that haven't happened yet with Roman and ex-wrestler for the championship. Now, the championship doesn't need to be involved with those people, but I'm sure they want it to be to make the match feel more important. The idea, here's the whole thing. Roman still has maybe 5 or less opponents that he really needs to face, and they would like it to be for the championship. And if it's not involved, the WWE feels it wouldn't be the biggest match. And you have LA Knight also, who, do they have confidence in him to be the guy at 41 years of age to carry the company as Undisputed Champion? We don't know. I still think it's too early for LA Knight, and LA Knight is the first guy in line since Roman's return, which tells you he's not going to win because he still has his other opponents. Seth Rollins I'd love, AJ Styles I'd love, Randy Orton I'd love. I mean, go down the line. Of course, The Rock, Cody, he's got like these guys that still need to happen, but maybe they pull the trigger. Maybe they finally do, but I don't think they do, because how many times have we sat here over the years plural, and said, it's time, it makes sense. No, they can't keep this going. I've seen no evidence to the contrary. They just keep plugging along. They're using the World Heavyweight Championship as another deodorizer of, we still have another world champion that's here every week. and all that continual nonsense, which does help a little bit, but it still does not erase the fact that Roman's never here. So you take all that and you mix it up into a blender, and I still think when you pour that out, it's Roman Reigns retaining in a very fun match. Do I see any returns? Again, Randy Orton could also interject himself into this and RKO Roman, or he could turn heel and RKO Knight. I doubt it, but there's a lot of possibilities. Of course, Solo could get involved here. You could have Jimmy Uso get involved here. I very much expect both of them to, and maybe that's where Randy Orton comes out. RKO's Solo, RKO's Jimmy, and that way Randy Orton's on SmackDown filling the absentee Roman Reigns, where LA Knight maybe is or isn't champion, but we have at least Randy Orton on SmackDown to help fill the hole for 2 months while Roman is on sitting at home, or I don't even know what he does on vacation, but that's my pick, guys. So to summarize, Roman Reigns retains. Drew McIntyre wins the World Heavyweight Championship. Rhea Ripley retains. Logan Paul wins the U.S. Championship. Cody Rhodes beats Damian. Solo Sikoa beats John Cena. Bianca Belair wins the WWE Women's Championship. And Sami Zayn beats J.D. McDonough in the kickoff match. So we'll see. I have very low confidence in some of my picks, but let me know what you guys think. Of course, you can join the Discord server on Patreon if you want to talk to all the other wrestling fans of this show, and head on over to patreon.com/WWE podcast, as well as WWEpodcast.com if you want to join the website and get ad-free experiences there, or get some merch, guys. WWEpodcastshop.com. You can get mugs, t-shirts, cell phone cases, and all the like. So enjoy the PLE, guys. I'll be talking to you on the back end of it. I'll try to do a show on Sunday for the review and tweet out my thoughts after the Crown Jewel event. Again, I probably won't be able to watch it live. I have things going on that I won't be able to watch it at 1 p.m. Eastern time, but I'll try to do my best to give reactions as I watch the show. So everyone enjoy themselves. Should be a hell of an event, one that I think we're going to be talking about for a while, and I will talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.